Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something simple yet powerful, how to improve your English every single day. Many people think learning English is difficult, that you need expensive courses, long hours, or extraordinary talent. But the truth is, the small habits you practice consistently are far more important than talent. It's like planting seeds every day. If you water them a little, consistently, they grow into a tree. Today, I want to talk about something that seems small, but can completely change your life. How to improve your English every single day. Many people think learning English is difficult, that it requires long hours, expensive courses, or some kind of hidden talent. But the truth is, success doesn't come from sudden genius. It comes from small, consistent action. It comes from daily habits that, over time, compound into real skill. Imagine planting seeds every day, watering them a little. At first, nothing seems to happen. But over months and years, those seeds grow into strong trees, providing fruit for a lifetime. English works the same way. Every small effort you make builds invisible strength that shows up in ways you cannot even imagine at first. The first habit is to immerse yourself in English daily. Don't wait for a classroom or a teacher to tell you what to do. Your brain learns best when it is exposed to the language naturally, not through forced memorization. Listen to a song in English, watch a short video, or read an article about something you enjoy. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day, it matters more than you think. The human mind is amazing at picking up patterns, sounds, and meanings without you realizing it. When you laugh at a joke in English, you remember the words. When you see a phrase in a story, your mind stores it for future use. Habits like this are invisible investments that pay off over time. Many people spend hours studying grammar without practicing real English, but immersion allows you to learn the language as it is actually used. The second habit is to speak every day, even if it's just to yourself. So many people hesitate because they are afraid of mistakes. They think perfection is the first step. But perfection is never the starting point. Speaking is practice. Every word you say trains your brain to connect meaning and expression. Even 2 sentences spoken every day are more valuable than hours of silent study. Confidence grows when you act, not when you wait. When you speak regularly, your mind starts to think in English, not just translate from your native language. And mistakes become your teachers. They tell you what to improve. And each correction makes you stronger. The people who succeed in language are not those who never make mistakes, but those who keep speaking despite them. The third habit is to connect your learning with your passions. Learning is easiest when it is enjoyable. If you love movies, watch them in English. If you love sports, read about your favorite teams or athletes in English. If you love technology or business, follow news in English in those areas. When your learning connects to your interests, it stops feeling like a chore and becomes part of your life. You will find yourself absorbing words, phrases, and expressions without effort because you are engaged. Passion turns repetition into joy, and joy accelerates learning. It is easy to spend hours on something you love without realizing it. And the same applies to learning English. When you enjoy the process, mastery follows naturally. The fourth habit is to review what you learn every day. This may sound boring, but repetition is the mother of mastery. Every day, take a few minutes to recall the words, phrases, or sentences you learned. Write them, speak them aloud, or use them in conversation. Our brains are designed to forget unless we reinforce knowledge. So these small reviews ensure that learning sticks. Over time, what was once new and unfamiliar becomes natural and automatic. Small efforts like this are invisible but powerful. They are like compounding interest. The more consistent you are, the faster your skill grows. People often think learning English requires sudden breakthroughs, but the truth is that fluency comes from thousands of small steps taken over months and years. Habits shape your future. Small daily actions decide whether you will struggle or succeed. English is not a skill that can be acquired overnight. It is learned through consistent, purposeful, and joyful practice. Habits matter more than motivation, because motivation comes and goes, but habits endure. When you immerse yourself in English, speak every day, connect learning to what you love, and review consistently, you're building something that lasts. These habits do not require extraordinary effort or intelligence. They only require persistence. And when you keep practicing, even a little bit each day, the results eventually multiply in ways that surprise you. Learning English is not about memorizing endless grammar rules or spending hours staring at a textbook. It is about creating a life where English becomes a natural part of your daily experience. Many people think that learning a language is difficult, or that they are too old or too busy to make progress. But the truth is, learning is always possible when you approach it with the right habits and mindset. The first step is to understand that consistency is far more important than intensity. Practicing a little every day is more powerful than studying for long hours sporadically. It is like building a wall brick by brick. One brick may not seem like much, but over time, a strong and lasting wall is created. Every small effort you make today is a seed for tomorrow. One of the most important habits is listening to English actively. This means not just hearing the words, but paying attention to how sentences are formed, how intonation works, and how meaning is expressed. Listen to podcasts, songs, or news in English, and try to catch not just the words, but the rhythm of the language. Our brains are wired to recognize patterns, and when you expose yourself to English regularly, your mind starts to absorb these patterns naturally. You may not notice progress immediately, but gradually, your ability to understand English improves. This habit is powerful because it trains both your ears and your brain at the same time, making your learning faster and more natural. Another habit that truly works is speaking in English every day, even if imperfectly. Fear of mistakes is the biggest obstacle for most learners. People wait until they're ready to speak, but readiness never comes without practice. Speaking regularly, even in small amounts, forces your brain to connect. Words with meaning builds confidence and helps you develop fluency. Start with simple sentences. Describe your day or talk about things you love. The key is to speak without worrying about perfection. Every mistake is a lesson, and each lesson makes you stronger. When you make speaking a daily habit, your ability to express yourself grows naturally and slowly. English becomes a tool you can use with ease rather than a subject you study with stress. The third habit is to read in English daily. Reading is not just about understanding words. It is about learning how ideas are connected and how sentences are structured. Start with content that interests you, whether it's news, blogs, novels, or even social media posts. When you read regularly, your vocabulary expands. Your understanding of grammar improves naturally. And you start to think in English without translating from your native language. Reading also exposes you to culture, expressions, and ways of thinking that are impossible to learn from textbooks alone. When you enjoy the content, reading becomes effortless, and learning happens almost without notice. Another key habit is writing in English consistently. Writing forces you to organize your thoughts, think about sentence structure, and recall the vocabulary you have learned. Start with small things. Keep a diary. Write a few sentences about your day, or send short messages in English. Over time, writing will help you consolidate what you learn and make English a part of your thinking process. Consistent writing also improves your confidence because you see tangible evidence of your progress. Each sentence you write, each word you remember, adds another layer to your ability to communicate effectively. Writing, combined with reading, listening, and speaking, completes a cycle of learning that ensures your English grows steadily. English learning is not a race. It is a journey. Habits are more important than motivation because motivation fluctuates while habits endure. When you listen, speak, read, and write every day, you create an environment where English becomes a natural part of your life. These habits do not require extraordinary talent or endless hours. They only require persistence and patience. Over time, your small daily efforts multiply. And you will find that what once seemed impossible, speaking fluently, understanding native content, thinking in English becomes normal and easy. Success in English, like success in life, comes from doing ordinary things extraordinarily. Well, every day, without seeking immediate rewards. Learning English is not just about memorizing words or grammar. It is about creating a life where English becomes a tool that opens doors to opportunities, connections, and growth. Many people believe that fluency is reserved for those with natural talent or years of study, but the reality is that consistent effort and smart habits are far more powerful than talent alone. Success in learning English comes from the small steps you take every day, choices you make in your environment, and the mindset you bring to the process. It is like building a bridge. Every plank you lay, no matter how small, contributes to a structure. that will eventually take you far. One habit that transforms English learning is practicing listening actively every day. This is not passive listening, where words float in one ear and out the other, but intentional. Listening that focuses on understanding pronunciation, sentence patterns, and expressions. Podcasts, news segments, movies, and songs are all excellent tools for this. The more your brain is exposed to the natural flow of English, the faster it learns. At first, it may feel like you understand very little, but the brain has an incredible ability to pick up patterns and gradually create understanding from repetition. Listening every day not only improves comprehension, but also trains your mind to think in English, making speaking and writing easier over time. Speaking in English daily is another habit that works wonders. Many people hesitate to speak because they fear mistakes or judgment, but the truth is that mistakes are essential for growth. Every sentence you speak, no matter how simple or imperfect, trains your mind to connect meaning with expression. Start small, describe your day, talk about your favorite hobbies, or even speak to yourself in front of a mirror. The act of speaking, repeated consistently, builds fluency and confidence. Confidence, more than grammar knowledge, determines how well you can communicate. People who speak regularly make progress faster than those who study silently for hours. Speaking is like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Reading in English every day is also a habit that cannot be underestimated. Reading exposes you to vocabulary, grammar, and sentence structure in context, which helps your brain understand how English works naturally. Start with content that interests you, whether it is news articles, short stories, blogs, or social media posts. The key is to enjoy the process rather than force yourself to read something boring. When reading becomes part of your daily life, your vocabulary expands, your comprehension improves, and you start thinking in English rather than translating from your native language. Reading also provides insights into culture, idioms, and expressions that are difficult to learn in a classroom setting. Writing consistently in English is another habit that strengthens learning. Writing forces you to organize your thoughts, recall vocabulary, and practice grammar actively. Begin with small steps. Jot down a few sentences about your day, write short messages, or keep a diary in English. Over time, writing improves clarity of thought and communication skills reinforce it. What you have learned through listening, speaking, and reading. Writing also allows you to see progress in a tangible way, which builds confidence and motivation. When combined with the other habits, writing completes a cycle of learning that ensures steady and lasting improvement. Connecting English learning to your interests and passions is perhaps the most powerful habit of all. Learning becomes effortless when it is tied to what you love. If you enjoy movies, watch them in English with subtitles. If you love sports, follow news about your favorite teams in English. If you are interested in technology or business, read articles and blogs in English in those fields. When learning is enjoyable, it stops feeling like work and becomes a natural part of life. Passion creates energy, and energy fuels consistency. Habits built around joy are more likely to last and produce real results over time. English is not learned overnight. It is the result of daily habits, repeated consistently with patience and persistence. Small steps, taken every day, accumulate into skill and confidence. Many people look for shortcuts or dramatic breakthroughs, but the real power lies in doing ordinary things extraordinarily well every day. Immersing yourself in English, speaking regularly, reading, writing, and connecting learning to what you love creates an environment where fluency is inevitable. Learning English is not just about memorizing vocabulary or mastering grammar rules. It is about creating a daily life in which English becomes a tool, a bridge to new opportunities, and a way to express yourself clearly and confidently. Many people believe that learning English is a long, difficult journey that only some can succeed at. But the truth is that the key to success is not talented, is the small, consistent actions you take every day. Just like building a business or achieving a dream, learning English requires persistence, patience, and smart habits that compound over time. The first habit that makes a real difference is listening actively to English every day. Active listening is not just hearing words. It is paying attention to pronunciation, tone, sentence structure, and meaning. You can do this by watching movies, listening to songs, following podcasts, or reading along while listening to news stories. Every time you expose your brain to English, you are training it to recognize patterns and internalize the rhythm of the language. At first, it may seem like you understand very little, but slowly your comprehension improves. This habit trains your ears and your mind simultaneously, creating a foundation for speaking, reading, and writing. It also helps you develop an intuitive sense of the language that no textbook can teach. Another habit that truly transforms learning is speaking in English daily, no matter how small or imperfect. Many learners hesitate to speak because they fear mistakes or embarrassment, but mistakes are the stepping stones to mastery. Speaking every day helps your brain connect words with meaning, making communication faster and more natural. Start with short sentences. Describe your day. Talk about what you enjoy. Or even speak to yourself in front of a mirror. Every sentence you say is practice. Every mistake is feedback. And every conversation builds confidence. People who succeed in English are not those who never make mistakes, but those who persist in speaking despite them. Consistent practice turns hesitation into fluency and transforms fear into confidence. Reading in English every day is another habit that cannot be overlooked. Reading is more than understanding words. It is learning how ideas are structured, how sentences flow, and how expressions convey meaning. Begin with content that excites you, whether it is blogs, news, novels, or social media posts. When you enjoy what you read, learning becomes effortless. Reading regularly expands vocabulary, strengthens grammar intuitively, and teaches you how to think in English rather than translating from your native language. It also exposes you to culture, idioms, and real-life expressions that are difficult to acquire in a classroom. The more you read, the more your brain naturally adapts to the patterns and logic of English. Writing consistently in English is also a habit that solidifies learning. Writing forces you to organize your thoughts, use vocabulary actively, and practice grammar in context. Start small, write a few sentences about your day, send messages in English, or keep a journal. Writing allows you to track your progress, see improvements over time, and reinforce what you have learned through listening, speaking, and reading. It is a powerful tool because it makes your learning visible, tangible, and practical. Writing regularly, even in small amounts, develops clarity of thought and expression. Finally, connect your English learning with your passions and interests. When learning aligns with what you love, it becomes enjoyable rather than a chore. Watch movies, follow news, read blogs, or engage with communities in English that match your hobbies. Passion creates energy, and energy fuels consistency. Habits that are enjoyable last longer, and the learning becomes part of your life, not just an activity you do. The combination of immersion, daily speaking, reading, writing, and learning through interest creates a natural environment for English to grow and flourish. Learning English is not a sudden leap. It is the accumulation of small, purposeful habits repeated every day. Motivation comes and goes, but habits endure. The ordinary actions you take consistently, like listening, speaking, reading, writing, and connecting learning to what you enjoy, are what create extraordinary results. Over time, these small steps compound, and you will find yourself understanding more, speaking more confidently, and thinking in English more naturally.